Hi everyone, so the last video we did was sitting in a chair, and it's good for all of us who are working, sitting. It's good to connect with your spine and help your energy move, and for people who have a harder time standing or walking, it's a great set. Most of these you can actually just kind of adapt and do sitting, and someone told me that they were doing a lot of that anyway, so I thought I would make a whole video about sitting. And this week we're going to do one that's got more standing and walking, and some of it actually is a little more challenging. It's pieces of Qi Gong and Tai Chi kind of mixed together, and so if you've got knee problems or hip problems, shoulder problems, any problems, just be careful. This may not be the right set for you to do. It's one of those things, like it's easier to kind of work out stuff in a class than it is on a video where you're kind of on your own. Most important thing, and I think I say this every single time, so just because I say it every single time, it should be comfortable. We're trying to help our bodies feel good. Pain means that energy isn't moving, and the goal with Qi Gong is to help energy move and flow and to balance your body. And we want to feel good, so let's feel good doing it, enjoy it. So we're just going to kind of warm up a little bit, just kind of take your hands and let them swing kind of like a pendulum. It's good for the hips and the knees and the ankles, but it's also good for the spine. So what we want to do is kind of integrate our body, left and right, upper, lower, get our foundation, which is our feet, kind of supporting our knees, supporting our back, letting our arms be kind of free, help our nervous system, help our breathing. We're just going to kind of move our shoulders, go the other way, move our shoulders, good. Hold your low back and just kind of circle your hips. So a lot of Qi Gong and Tai Chi, the goal is smoother, easier, softer. And they actually do build strength, but you don't have to push super hard. It's more about getting your body in the right place and then actually letting the mechanics work for you. And it stabilizes the joints, and actually it's good for blood pressure and stress and all other kinds of things. Circle your knees. You'll see like hip circles, knee circles, a lot of what you're doing is actually getting your ankles moving and getting your feet moving. And we have an earlier video, just march, kind of open and close your hands, march, march. We have an earlier video on balance that's really nice, and it's actually a good one to do before this one so that you can kind of get a sense of how we're shifting weight and kind of allowing stuff to flow and the spine to connect to the feet. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to step out into horse stance, which is roughly twice your shoulder width. And you want to kind of sink so your weight's over your heels, your hips lined up with your heels, your shoulders are over your hips. So you're not here, your spine is kind of, can be open and relaxed. And we're going to breathe our hands up and just let your palms connect. So Qi Gong, it's about connection and letting breath. Qi means air or energy, so letting air kind of, the breathing, bring energy into your body. Let your shoulders kind of relax, let your elbows relax, and you're connecting your palms and your fingertips. This is called tree. We're allowing our energy to flow through our hands, just breathing in, breathing out. And feeling that connection into this space between our hands. And our palms are pointing into this middle energy center, which ties into connection, communication, relationships, joy. And to come out of this, you just breathe in and breathe out. Good. So that's kind of the tree form, or tree stance. It's a really good way of building energy. So if you're tired, it's also good for strengthening your legs and strengthening your back. The next thing we're going to do, it's a little more complicated. This is a more complicated video. It's called cloud hands. And with one hand, we're going to kind of come across. We're pushing across. And then we're receiving. So it's this kind of yin and yang, the balance, push and receive. And you'll find as you do this that your hips actually kind of want to move and your weight's going to want to shift from one foot to the other. And your hand, the next thing we'll do will probably be walking, but right now we're standing and our weight's transferring left to right, forward and back on our foot. This is just one hand, and then the other hand does the same thing, pushes across, receives. And so cloud hands, this is kind of holding and letting go. And if you're ready, you can kind of combine. Now, this is more complicated. Combine, push, receive. And now the other one is also pushing and receiving, upper, lower, yin, yang, left, right. And you cross the midline, which is so good for your brain. And remember where your spine is. It's more complicated, so don't rush this one. Just kind of feel it and watch your hands move. It's actually good for the nervous system. Kind of let go of everything else except what your hands are doing, what your body's doing. And there's so many variations of cloud hands. And it's Tai Chi and Qi Gong are branches of martial arts, so all these, there are kind of martial art applications, but it's also really about getting your body in a good place and allowing it to move freely and comfortably. And that has health benefits, so many health benefits. All right, so that's cloud hands. We're gonna do a lot this video, but don't push it. If you get into something, you're like, oh, that doesn't feel good for my hip or for my knee, then it's not the right thing. All right, so many people who come in, they're walking, they're like, oh, it hurts when I walk, and it hurts here, it hurts here. We pay so little attention to what we actually do with our body when we're walking. Once we learn how to do it, we forget everything that we've learned. And that kind of, there should be this process, like our body's moving, it's changing, we're walking different types of ground, we're carrying things. It's great to be aware of your feet, and if you're aware of your feet, you're less likely to fall, less likely to hurt yourself. You can enjoy your walking a lot more. So Tai Chi and Qi Gong, walking is really important, and it's kind of intentional. You don't just kind of pound your feet, you actually intentionally transfer. So just like we were doing with the cloud hands, you transfer your weight. So you bring your foot into your heel, and I'm not even putting my weight on my foot yet, I can pick it up. And then you walk, you step forward, and your weight rolls across your foot, kind of like water flowing. And then it rolls across the foot. And then it rolls across the foot. And this is kind of like the first level of walking in Tai Chi. It gets a little more complicated, but that's enough. It's enough to just kind of feel like you're walking and you're connecting to each part of that motion. You're not just moving through and rushing it, you're actually connecting and feeling it in your knees and your hips. My videographer's doing a great job. Kudos to Emily. All right, so now we're gonna let our whole body actually be part of that motion. So this is from a Wild Goose, Dian Qi Gong. You inhale, sorry, you don't have to stand on one foot yet. Inhale, hands come up, and then we're gonna let our hands move forward as our weight moves forward. So exhale, forward, inhale, weight comes back, exhale. This opens and closes the chest, and it's so good for the lungs. It's so good for the lymphatic movement in the body. It's so good for our brain to connect with our body and actually feel stuff flowing. Good. And now we're just gonna, I'm gonna back up so it's easier. So you can keep going, you can turn with this if you want to. So you can turn and go different directions. Inhale. See how my elbows are low too? I'm not up here. It's the soft, easy, comfortable, happy goose. There you go. That's nice. And then bring your hands down. And this is the last thing. We're just gonna step out. Shoulder width, inhale, hands come up. Exhale, hands go down. This is just taking the energy that we built, inhale, hands come up, and letting it settle into our body. Our body can store energy. It doesn't have to run everywhere all the time. Inhale, exhale. So when we want it, it can be there, but it can be comfortable and happy and here until then. So just hold your lower belly. Thanks for joining. I hope you're all doing well. Keep practicing.